all the pitching sucks.
What up, everybody? Welcome in. Friday. We're a few minutes late, but we were having conversations off air. DFS Army MLB pre-lock show on Friday. Raz and Tattoo here. Tattoo, how are you doing today?
Doing pretty good. Had a nice day off yesterday, and it was weird though, like not really having a whole lot of sports to watch at night. So, but it kind of also allowed me to just take a step back and not worry about it,
Yeah, I hear you there.
Like I didn't really get much into anything yesterday. Like I didn't really look at anything. Now today, it's funny. I had my player list cheat sheets almost completed last night before midnight, but yet I've still not managed to mess with pitching.
Pitching is, I don't know, it's somewhat similar to what it's been like recently.
Yeah.
In that, like, we have some names, but we have a lot of spots where we don't necessarily feel all that comfortable. I mean, the second highest owned pitcher is Dustin May. The most owned pitcher is Mackenzie Gore. Like, that says something. I mean, to me, Logan Webb should be the highest owned.
Gore is half his ownership and the fourth highest on FanDuel.
Yeah, Logan Webb's the fourth highest on DK. Bryce Miller's the fifth highest. So,
he's the same thing here.
Yeah, it's just weird. I just don't know. Like, I mean, really, it should be Bryce Miller and Logan Webb, and then like the field of pitchers well below that. But like, there's obviously worry because Bryce Miller isn't the same when he's pitching on the road.
Yeah.
Which is obviously where he's at. I mean, you have Roki Sasaki getting double-digit ownership. You have Zebby Matthews double-digit ownership on DK. I just like. There's just a lot more volatility to pitching right now than I guess I remember seeing on a daily basis. So that makes it really tough. 10-game slate. Obviously, we get a few more pitchers, but I don't know. Like,
yeah, there's nobody that makes you feel comfortable clicking their name.
No, I mean, traditional Logan Webb at home would. He hasn't been as good at home this year, but for me, he's the one guy that I feel super comfortable. But I don't really feel all that comfortable with even Shane McClanahan, and I'm a huge McClanahan fan. I'm playing Trevor Rogers. I'm playing Grant Holmes in the game where it's a spot I shouldn't feel very interested in either pitcher, but here I am. I'm still playing Davis Martin, even though the big thing is the negative regression monster has kind of shown up in the Davis Martin world. Yeah. He's definitely not that guy that he showed the first 2 months of the season. But it's a slate where I feel like I just have to play somebody like that. Spencer Arrighetti, because what I think is the regression monster is hitting the White Sox offense a little bit. Do you see that Murakami is just 5 for 30 with a 39% K rate since he returned from the IL? So it's just a bunch of names that, like, if the slate of pitching was stronger, I think there'd just be a ton of names where I'd be like, all right, I just want like 8% of and hope that I get them right, but I don't want to be too heavy on them because they're probably going to get blown up way too often.
Yeah, the Rogers and Holmes is interesting because Rogers has looked a lot better.
Yeah,
but it's a tough matchup. and Holmes kind of sucks, but there's so much strikeout opportunity with the Orioles.
Yeah, the Orioles lineup has just been struggling enough where I think Holmes is interesting. Now, some of that might be because the Orioles have faced a few more left-handed pitchers recently. And I think they're just a worse team overall against lefties. So that does have an effect on, the last week to 10 days numbers. So that's one of the things that makes me a little bit worried about Holmes, but also he's just thrown better on the road too.
Yeah.
Trevor Rogers, he's throwing better now, absolutely dominated the Dodgers a month ago. The Braves have a lineup where you think they should be able to do a ton of damage against left-handed pitching, but yet they seem to not. Riley started to heat up, but he's been pretty bad against lefties. His hasn't been as strong as years past.
Yeah.
Acuna's still out. I don't know if you saw that he might have re-injured himself last night in his rehab. He struck out and went limping out of the batter's box.
No, I remember seeing that Braves minor league lineup, and I was like, damn, half of it's major leaguers.
Yeah, he was originally believed to be back tonight, but he did limp out of the batter's box after striking out last night. So we might be without Acuna for a little bit longer. I don't like. I mean, 13.5% are playing Roki Sasaki, and that's a name that I'm not playing when he's on the road. I've played him a couple times at home, and I've hated it even. So, the one pitcher on the slate that I'm afraid to be too low on, or from my ownership, is Trey Savage. I was looking into some of his numbers. He's been better on the road. Now, obviously, it's a tough ballpark for pitching in Fenway. But the average against him on the season is 185 or something. He just has this walk issue, and then with hits coming with guys on base. There's just got to be some positive regression coming for him from a runs allowed standpoint. And Boston coming off of a long winning streak, having that snapped, kind of probably thinking that they come back down to earth a little bit. I think Savage is one of those guys that when the slate is over with, we're going to say, man, he was only 8K. Why didn't we have 30% of him?
Yeah.
Because he should be similar to even Mackenzie Gore, who's $300 more than him, but Gore is nearly twice the ownership. So are you just playing as much Logan Webb, maybe Bryce Miller as you can, and then moving on? Or who else are you trying to, I don't know, maybe get 10% or more?
I have a slight problem with my affection for Dustin May.
Yeah, it scares me.
He's he's my starting point. For my single entry, it's all right, I'm gonna go with Dustin May and the I haven't figured out. Maybe Shane McClanahan, but I mean, Cleveland's got some guys that are hitting the ball right now.
Yeah, I think thankfully for McClanahan though, the guys that are hitting the ball are mostly left-handed for Cleveland.
Yeah.
And I think the big thing for McClanahan is he's pitching at home. His home road splits are pretty strong too. So on most slates, I think McClanahan would be one of my favorite because I'm just a big McClanahan guy, even though I have to learn to temper my thoughts just because he's coming back from, a year and a half of away for his surgery. It was a longer road for him than most of the others, but I just like maybe it's some of the matchups just don't line up greatly, right? Like,
Yeah.
If Trevor Rogers was facing a different team, I think I would probably be pretty happy using him tonight, but he just happens to face the Braves.
If he wasn't facing the Braves, I dare say he would almost be the best pitcher on the slate.
There's an opportunity, like there's a chance, and I think like Logan Webb gets rewarded because of his matchup on this slate. Like if he's facing any other team other than the Angels, even though it's at home, I don't think he's my number one. Like that slight difference is all that mattered to take him over Bryce Miller. Like if Bryce Miller's pitching at home, I think he's probably the number one guy. If Dustin May was pitching on the road, I don't think he'd be as high owned. Like there's really small changes to the night slate that I think would change everything drastically. Like small in our mind, but from a percentage wise, it would change it extremely.
Yeah.
So that just means that there's a ton of volatility with all of these matchups for pitchers. You have any interest in like Sean Manaea against the Dodgers?
Oh God, absolutely not even close. Like I feel like every Dodger has done something against him.
It does feel like that. What about Grayson Rodriguez pitching in San Francisco?
No.
Yeah. He just
I was gonna add like Zebby with, the A's, recent struggles putting back the ball.
Half of the A's lineup is swinging it pretty well. I debated Zebby because there's K upside and he's pitching at home where he's been far better. Ultimately, I just sided with the A's side of things.
Yeah.
But
I mean, they got a few guys that are heating up this week. So, yeah.
Need Shea, Jeff McNeil,
Wilson,
Soderstrom from a power standpoint. Jacob Wilson's hitting a bunch. Tommy White just not making any outs. He's not striking out either, not making outs.
Yeah.
He's just not hitting for power yet. I don't like. It just feels like a spot where he could strike out 8, but he could give up 5 runs with those 8 strikeouts.
Yeah, I leaned more towards the A's. Like, I didn't list Zebby, and the A's are one of my stacks.
What are you doing with like Spencer Arrighetti against the Sox?
Probably just not getting there. I kind of like the White Sox. They're my fantasy darling this year.
I'm using some Arrighetti tonight. I don't even know if I ranked the White Sox in my stacks. I did. But again, I just think recent trends for the White Sox offense has seen it slow down a little bit. Obviously, when they show up big.
Yeah.
But
I just, he doesn't have the best ISO in the world, and that's what the White Sox can do is hit home runs.
yeah,
but he's like the pitcher. Like I think what you were even saying, he could get 8, 9 strikeouts, but give up 3 home runs.
He could. He's in the bottom half in terms of pitcher average and WOBA against the season. Even though the White Sox now are sitting as the 4th highest owned team on DK. So I don't know. It's tough.
What about
maybe the 3rd highest owned?
Joey Cantillo?
I can't use Cantillo against a team that doesn't strike out.
Yeah.
Why Tampa Bay is not owned, I don't understand. They're down here at the fourth lowest owned team. But they have the fourth best batter WOBA for our metric time. Like anytime you have J-Cam with Yandy Diaz, like those two alone should always combine for 14% owned, pretty much on every slate.
Yeah.
And they're at home. That's the one that I actually wrote up in my article today, is the Tampa Bay Rays for this slate. As you can tell, I switched over to we kind of exhausted most pitchers.
The pitchers exhausted.
The Minnesota Twins, the highest owned stack on DK. You have any thoughts on that one?
It makes sense. And I did put them up as a tier 1 stack. But I have a thing that's gone on for years with me that the Twins are a team I can't get right. So, therefore, I've normally just avoided stacking them. But I totally get it.
Yeah, they feel like a team that doesn't come through when they're chalky. Which does scare me because my favorite bat tonight is Ryan Jeffers. But
yeah, Bucks is back.
Yeah, I mean, I like Buxton. He just hasn't been doing it against left-handed pitching this season the way that I would have expected him to. I mean, Minnesota is not a top-tier stack for me. They did make my top 5, but I went with the Dodgers and the A's in my top tier.
I was thinking about, like, as we were speaking, and I was like, why would you put Minnesota as your top stack the way you feel? But I think I would switch my Minnesota and the Dodgers, and my other one was Toronto.
I just have a tough time trusting Toronto.
Yeah, the trust issue is tough.
We must be missing a team, or are there multiple teams tied with the same WOBA? Like, I don't. Oh, there we go. There is a team tied. I was gonna say they're 19th in batter WOBA, but there's 20 teams, and I don't see a 20.
Yeah. Now, and like I said, a lot of I have initial thoughts and feelings, and a lot of times after we do the show, my feelings change, and I adjust from there. I would say the other team I was attracted to was San Francisco.
San Francisco is the one that I'm trying to figure out what to do with in that ballpark. But yeah, like, there are a couple guys I like. They have the best matchup on the board.
They have the
ballpark not
second highest implied run total, but they're like 10th
way
and
too
under.
Inflated. But...
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, really, it's like Luis Ariz is really the guy that I love the most. And he just fits that ballpark. I've talked about it plenty of times. Like, that gap hitting for him just creates upside. Before we're basically using him as a singles hitter. He has more extra base hit upside in this ballpark. So that part fits. It's just Adames hitting home runs but striking out a bunch, and he struggled a lot at home this season. Like I feel better about a mini stack with San Francisco, like Devers or Eyes or Eldridge or Eyes.
Yeah,
you know,
I really like
kind of
Devers. Right.
But I just think their ownership kind of just falls in line with the ballpark idea, right? Like, it's that ballpark, and we really expect them to do a lot. I mean, they can. They've done it before. That's for sure. Another team towards the bottom, even though I mentioned Tampa Bay as one of my favorites, the New York Mets taking on Roki Sasaki seems pretty low on the total ownership.
Yeah.
I don't love what that offense has been doing, but I mean, Lindor's been pretty hot, and then so is going to get hot again at some point. You'd have to imagine.
Yeah.
So, they're one of those teams that I think goes overlooked. What are you doing with Cincinnati against Dustin May? I mean, they're a pretty low team on this list, but they're third in batter wOBA.
I think, there would be a team, since I'm kind of heavy on May, I think I would want to also kind of want some exposure to Cincinnati because May hasn't looked great recently. But I was talking to like my nephew last night about stuff, but I mean, May doesn't give up home runs. I believe he's given up 7 home runs in 98 innings this year, so one every 14 innings.
Yeah. Just one of those home runs at home in 56 and 2/3 innings.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Because Cincinnati does need to hit home runs.
Yeah. So I think I talked myself off of Cincinnati there.
Of the most popular teams, which team are you most likely to fade?
Miami.
Yeah, I have to believe that it would be my answer too, which is weird because they're taking on German Marquez, who obviously is not very good. The problem is the San Diego bullpen is very good, and they're very willing to pull Marquez early and get into their own bullpen. If it's not Miami, for me it's Toronto. I'm kind of over trying to play Toronto right now.
I just noticed their average projected points is 666, so I don't want any part of them either.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. Not exciting, but I mean, they have, one of the lower implied run totals too. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just comparing them to themselves last year, and that's an issue.
I don't know. Maybe just like a mini stack with Springer, or
I think it's mostly just Springer right now.
Or just a one-off Springer.
Like Akamoto's struggling a ton. Vladdy, for whatever reason, just does not hit left-handed pitching as well as he should. Maybe it's Ernie Clement, since he plays positions that we generally aren't jamming in big names from, but yeah, like a lot of times for me, it's just Springer right now. I mean, I don't mind Kirk, but today there are a few catchers I really love. So like, I don't want to get to a lot of Kirk.
Speaking of catchers, at least at Adelaide, what about Houston?
Well, the problem is I was just going to mention Yainer Diaz is not in the lineup, which bothers me because he was one of my, 4 or 5 main catchers. Like I was really, really going to go heavy on 4 or 5 different catchers and then just have a bunch of sprinkle of the rest. But him being out now just increases the likelihood that I go with 35% Ryan Jeffers.
And a bunch of Drake Baldwin.
I mean, Baldwin's going to be up there, but it's Jeffers, it's Shea Langeliers, and Nick Fortes as my cheap guy for the Rays because he's been swinging it well enough, and they're facing a lefty. He's like that cheap guy that I was just going to get at catcher to change up the construction of my builds. So, really it's just Langeliers and Jeffers as my main guys. Some Drake Baldwin too to pivot away from them, but yeah, they're all in the 5Ks for DK. So I was just planning on spending way up at catcher. But kind of speaking of positions, we might as well switch over and go position by position, get some plays. We've been on for 26 minutes. I feel like we've talked plenty about some of the other stuff. Yeah. Maybe a shorter show than usual. But I think we kind of just flew through a bunch of things. Pitching being questionable probably made it easier to do so.
Probably, yeah.
But let's go to position by position. Let you scroll through everybody. Then I'll give mine, and then you can give out your dongs, and we will get out of here and head into our weekend.
I think catcher's obvious, and we know. I think we both have him as a core play. But so I'll say Drake Baldwin, but we know what the answer is. First base is loaded once again. I really like Devers tonight. Second base, it's either like Cody Clemens or Bazana. Third base is loaded. I love J Ram. I would probably say J Ram is my favorite. Shortstop, I just feel like it's got to be Betts. Outfield, Tatis. It's hard to ignore Tucker's BVP. Merle is finally heating back up. And let's see. Kind of not somebody that I'm going to be super high on by any stretch, but Evan Carter's, 2 for 3 with 2 home runs off Miller. And I like Petey Halpin.
Dodgers money line makes a lot of sense to me. I like them to beat the Mets and Sean Manaea. Low on stack, I think for me it was Cincinnati. Sorry, I missed the question earlier while we were talking about stacked teams, but Cincinnati over Texas and Cleveland for me on this slate. I just think they're the stack that has a bunch of upside compared to the other two. Just realized I wasn't sharing the DS tab when I was scrolling through position by position as you were talking. Obviously, catcher, yes, I mentioned multiple times who my guys are. Jeffers for sure. First base for me, you mentioned Devers. I think the only other one that I'm really interested in, or two, I guess, I'll give Wilson Contreras just because he just continues to have, like, every week he's got an OPS of 12 to 1,400. I don't understand it, but he still keeps doing it. And then Ty France, who just keeps hitting home runs for whatever reason. Second base, you kind of broke up when you said it, so I don't know if you said my guy or not. But it's Tommy Edman.
No, I skipped him. I went Clemens and Bazana.
Yeah, Tommy Edman, 4 for 5 with 2 home runs and a double against Mania. OPS of 1237 over the last week. If it's not Edman, it's Luis Ariz. Third base, man, just pick a dude. I'm going to go a little bit off the wall for me. I'm going to make Drago pretty happy. Isaac Paredes is my third baseman tonight. Duke, I like the Rangers plus 1.5 with Gore pitching. I mean, it's a volatile spot, but they're at home where he's at his best and Bryce Miller's at his worst on the road. So I think the Rangers plus 1.5 makes sense.
Take Seattle win the first 5 and Texas to cover the one.
It's certainly possible there too. I don't do a lot of full game betting when I do bet. It's generally first 5 betting because I don't like to rely on bullpens. I like a lot of Mania unders tonight. K's probably makes sense as well. Shortstop, you mentioned Mookie Betts and his insanely strong BVP against Mania. I will mention the other 2 guys that I love, Jeremy Pena, just destroying the ball, and then Jacob Wilson hitting a bunch of home runs over the last week as well. In the outfield, oh man, you mentioned Jackson Merrill, keep swinging it. Tatis does as well. Jordan, the last 6 games, Jordan's 11 for 23 with 6 walks. Michael Harris, even though it's left on left, decent against Rogers, and like he just keeps hitting. So like he's probably the one Braves bet I really love tonight. I mean, I like Drake Baldwin too, but Michael Harris, Tyler Soderstrom, another guy that I think is in play. And if you want a cheap guy that I am paying a little bit too much of, especially because there's the chance that he comes out of the game halfway through, it's Weston Wilson for Seattle. 3 for his last 10 with a home run and a double. He's also 4 for 10 with a home run against Mackenzie Gore. So kind of one of those scenarios. Mets may have a fresh bullpen, but like I don't know that their bullpen is overly strong, which probably helps you taking the Dodgers as well. But yeah, like he's probably on a shorter leash, but I think every pitcher probably is when facing the Dodgers. But, you know, there we have it for all that. Tattoo, you can give out some dongs, and then we'll get out of here so that we can get finished up for our evening and head into our weekend.
Let's see. Like Miguel Vargas. I think Soto hits one tonight. Shea. Did I say Soto? Yeah. Junior. Jordan Walker. Yeah, that should about cover.
I have really only looked at some, and it's Ryan Jeffers. So I'm just all in on Ryan Jeffers tonight. It is what it is. Phillies first 5. That game's on the earlier.
I got.
I'm probably not. I guess in a coin flip scenario, I think I'd lean the Phillies since they're at home. But that's a pitching matchup that I just don't really want to try to predict first 5 out of. Like, it legitimately could be 1-0 through 5 for either team with Schlittler and Luzardo. Luzardo is more volatile than Schlittler is, so like that just feels like one that I wouldn't Wouldn't feel comfortable trying to pick a side.
Detroit first 5, St. Louis first 5, Milwaukee. Some of these I can't remember what time they played. Or they played early.
I don't know what the total is first 5 for in that game, but I mean, the under would probably be the smarter play. Just in general. I haven't really dug into that game because it's on the earlier slate, and I'm not playing that turbo-ish slate of games, and I'm not putting any bets out there this evening, as far as I know. 3.5, yeah, I think I would lean more towards the under on that number. Because that gives you 2-1 as an option too, and that feels very much in the range of possibilities. A couple of home runs hit, 2-1 ball game through 5 innings. But yeah, that is what we have for this evening. We are back on Monday, I believe normal time. If you are a member of dfsarmy, hit us up in Discord. If you're not, why are you not with us? Scrolling at the bottom of the screen is our best promo code. There is a link in the description below. You can use promo code BESTBALL2026. Gets you 20% off any NFL or VIP subscription. I think the VIP Core 4 does include baseball. If you want to join us for just baseball, you can use promo code RAZ or Tattoo. That gets you 10% off monthly. Yeah, that's all we got. We're back Monday. Hope you guys have a great weekend. We will still obviously be doing content all weekend long over on the website and in Discord. Best of luck, everybody, and helmets up.
The best coaches in the game, we really ain't playing. We regroup up in the Slack chat where the coaches debrief. We be piecing these puzzles, occupy the chunk of the pie. Ain't no lie when we hit the block, helmet's casket is top. You be seeing helmet after helmet, helmet after helmet. First place, second place, fifth place, eighth place, 12th place, 15, 16, 20. So many helmets, you got blurred vision, we got too many. Take your tech. Oh man, shit. They got us fucked up. Army, regroup. We pledge always to have that edge. We don't fire warning shots. Competition just dropped. We locked and loaded before lock. Whatever the time, yeah. Do you even correlate?
Being the best requires a willingness to outwork your competition. There's always someone smarter, faster, sharper, more naturally gifted.